welcome. As you may know, our summer theme this year is Imagine Your Story, which is a celebration of fairy tales and folk tales and fractured fairy tales. So I have read 3 books recently that I wanted to share with you that are on this theme. The first one is called Goldilocks Go Home by Martha Friedman. So this is a retelling of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but I guess you can tell by the title, Goldilocks Go Home, that she's maybe outstayed her welcome. She's not afraid of the 3 bears. They're having trouble getting rid of her. And Baby Bear is now known as Bobby Bear because he thinks Baby Bear is very childish, and he has really had it with her. He wants to get her out. So the chapters are told, they go back and forth between being narrated by Goldilocks and being narrated by Baby Bear. And if it gets a little confusing, you can tell at the beginning of each chapter there's a little picture frame, and inside the picture frame is either a picture of the bear or Goldilocks, so that helps you keep it straight. So I won't tell you, you'll have to read to find out what happens, but there's a lot of other fairy tale characters that are drawn in. There's the gingerbread boy, there's a troll in the bridge, there's the big bad wolf. So you'll have to see what happens, but it's pretty funny and it moves really fast. It's suggested for grades 3 to 6 as a reading level, but the comedy and the humor in it is probably better for grades 5 to 6. The next book that I really liked is called Bigfoot, Littlefoot by Ellen Potter. This book is a nice introductory chapter book for either for reluctant readers or readers or kids that are just starting to get into reading full chapter books. And the story centers around Hugo, who is a Sasquatch, and Boone, who is a young boy. So Hugo lives in the caves with his family, and he's been told to stay away from the humans. They're dangerous and they smell funny. And Boone has been told, to be careful about the Sasquatch. They smell funny. But all Boone has ever wanted to do is to meet a Sasquatch. So one day they're both out exploring and they unexpectedly meet. And first they notice how different they are. They can't help but notice that Hugo is very large and hairy and that Boone is kind of a small boy and he has freckles. But as they start talking to each other, they realize that they have a lot in common also. They both are very curious about what is happening outside their world. They're very adventurous, and they would really like to have a friend that they could talk to and go on adventures with. So they really find out that they have a lot more in common than different. And if you like this book, there's 3 books in the series, so you can continue on with the next 2 adventures. The third book I want to talk about is a series of books. There's 13 books in the series, and it's called the Whatever After series. And each book in the series has kind of a catchy name that is a hint to the fairy tale that it's about. For instance, Don't Spill the Beans is about Jack and the Beanstalk. The first book in the series that I want to talk about is called Fairest of All, and it's about Snow White. So there's 2 characters, Abby and her younger brother Jonah, and they move to a new city. They're in a new house, and as they're exploring in the basement, they discover that there's a magic mirror, and this mirror can transport them directly into a fairy tale. So in this book, they're transported directly into the cottage where Snow White is being presented the poisoned apple by the wicked stepmother. And they jump in and they stop her from eating the apple, which seems like a good thing. It seems like they've saved the day. But now the fairy tale is different. So can they fix it so that the fairy tale goes on to being the traditional tale? Or maybe there's a different ending. Maybe we don't need to have the prince wake up Snow White. So you kind of have to read it and see what happens, but it's pretty funny, and once again, kind of like Goldilocks Go Home, it's funny and it moves very quickly. And if you like it, you're in luck because you have 13 books in the series to read. You can read them in the book format, you can download an ebook from Overdrive, or you can also download an audiobook that you can listen to from Hoopla using your library card. So these are some books that I've read and I've suggested, but if you like fairy tales, fractured fairy tales, mythology, I encourage you to come to the library. We can help you find books on that topic, and I hope you enjoy the summer. Keep reading.